Hello everybody, my name's Dr. Peter Blundell and welcome to another episode of the Therapist Connect podcast. This is a very short episode, well, really it's more of an announcement around the podcast, just to let you know that we are going to be pausing the podcast for now. So it's a little bit of a message to say farewell and thank you to everyone who's been listening to us over the last 6 years. This isn't going to be the very last episode. We have 2 more episodes that we are going to release, which I will tell you about in a moment. A couple of reasons why we're ending the podcast now. We get requests every week for amazing therapists and guests who want to appear on the podcast. There's lots of people who we would love to interview. However, the time it's taking to interview people and get the episodes out, you will see that the episodes have become a lot more sporadic over the last 12 months. Due to work and personal commitments, it's been a lot more difficult to record, edit and publish the episodes to the point where some people's recordings are taking like 6 months before they get out, before they become released, which is just a delay that's too long really. So yes, we've decided to put the podcast on hold for the moment. It's also been 6 years since the release of the podcast. So we thought that this was probably a good time to rest it and maybe we'll come back to it at some point in the future. If you are interested in counselling, psychotherapy, social work, also if you're interested in qualitative research, I am still undertaking interviews over on my YouTube account, which is at Dr. Peter Blundell. So there's a variety of content that's already on there and a lot more stuff that's going to be added on over the next 12 months. And the reason why it's easier to kind of release things over on YouTube is there's not as much editing and processing to do as it is for this podcast. So originally, the podcast, we were hoping to interview therapists about their life and work, and I think we've achieved that over the years. We were also hoping to record interviews with therapists in different countries and have kind of more discussions and debates. And I don't know if we've been as successful at that part of the podcast as we have doing the one-to-one interviews, which usually follow a traditional formula and a set of similar questions. And I think it's been nice to kind of see how different therapists answer those questions over the last 6 years. We have had some amazing guests. Thank you to all of our guests who have come on the podcast and shared a lot of the time quite a lot of intimate and personal details about their life and their work, which I know has been really enlightening for me, but also for lots of our listeners as well, a lot of people who are experienced therapists and students alike. We have had over the last count 50,000 listens of our podcasts across the different platforms, and there are new people listening to our podcast every single week from the statistics that come through. So even though the podcast is being paused, I know that people will continue to listen while it's still out there. We thought at one point we were going to do some other different types of episodes like ethical dilemmas, to kind of discussing like an ethical dilemma with different therapists. We had suggestions to do a whole specific series on anti-oppressive practice. We've had requests for student topics for the podcast, all of which we really kind of wanted to do, but just over past 6 years, we just haven't managed to make those things happen, which I think is a shame, but there's lots of kind of amazing and great other podcasts out there at the moment doing kind of similar things. So hopefully people will find that in other places. I wanted to say thank you to all of the people who have volunteered their time to Therapist Connect over the past 6 years, but also to contributing to delivering this podcast or creating this podcast. It's mainly me now who does the interviews and the editing and the transcription, because I have software that helps me with that. But before we had that software, we had volunteers who were editing, transcribing, creating poster designs, all of those kind of things. So I want to thank all of those Therapist Connect volunteers and specifically the ones who have helped make this podcast what it is over the years. I want to thank our guest hosts. We have had quite a few of those over the past 6 years. There have been some amazing interviews because of that, and also a different dynamic without me asking the same questions that I usually do. So I really appreciate all those people who've kind of stepped in and offered something different to the podcast listeners. You might not know this, but I get quite grumpy when I think about having to edit and transcribe the podcast. It is really not kind of an enjoyable process, the technical side of things. So I can become a little bit frustrated when I've got to do it. However, my frame of mind does completely change when I start to go back and listen to the interviews that I've had with somebody. And sometimes they could have been like quite, a long time ago. And so when I sit down and re-listen to those interviews, it's an absolute joy to listen back and just hear the wealth and breadth of experience that people are sharing. So it's really appreciative of everyone who's come on the podcast. I'd like to thank all of the sponsors of the podcast over the years who'd helped keep us going. We really appreciated all of your support. I want to thank the voice of the podcast introduction, which we played in a lot of the earlier episodes. We haven't played as much in the more recent ones, who is a good friend of mine, Karen, whose voice I just think is absolutely lovely. And so I asked her if she would be the voice of the podcast, and she was absolutely joyous at the prospect of doing that for us. So Karen, thank you so much. And I'm sorry that we won't be playing your voice anymore as part of the podcast. Finally, I obviously want to say thanks to Kaz as the Therapist Connect co-lead, who has covered every possible role that there is on the podcast, including being a guest, being interviewed, being a host, being a co-host, and also being a guest host over the last 6 years. So thanks, Kaz, for all your hard work on the podcast, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more from you in our final episode when it's released. And finally, thank you to all of the Therapist Connect supporters, but particularly those people who were there at the beginning of this project. We wouldn't have been able to grow so quickly, and we wouldn't have been able to achieve so much without all of those people supporting us throughout those early days of the platform. To now we've got, tens of thousands of therapists following us across lots of different platforms. So thank you, everyone who's supported us over the years. We are not ending as a platform. It is just the podcast that's being stopped for now. So if you do follow us on all the other counselling and psychotherapy social media accounts that we have, we will still be sharing posts and content on there for the ongoing future. So once again, thank you everybody who's been listening, and I hope you enjoy these final 2 episodes of the Therapist Connect podcast. We've got some lovely clips and we've got some lovely content to share with you in those final episodes. So thank you very much, and keep connecting with each other whenever you can. Bye-bye.